R Squad, what's going on? Colton, how you doing, bro?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you on the podcast.
Good to be here.
Colton is one of our R Squad interns. So if you're getting it now and you've been here the past few weeks, this was the R Squad intern series. Ben, Langston, and now Colton. So it's good to have you, bro. If you're a first-time guest in the house tonight, welcome. It's good to have you. Thank you for being here. We are concluding our series on wisdom. We've been asking this question: how can I live wisely? So to kick things off, who's the wisest person that you know, other than me?
Yeah, still my answer. Yeah, that was kind of a tough one for me. I'm probably going to have to go with my father.
Okay.
Even though I don't always listen to the wisdom, that's why it's kind of tough. It is there.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to swallow that he's a lot.
Yeah. What about him, or what about what he says or who he is makes him so wise?
He's just got a lot more experience than I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't necessarily want to acknowledge that, but it's definitely there. So
For sure. We talked about that a lot in last week's episode as well. Is like, man, there's a lot of people, really in the whole series so far, is like there's a lot of people who give wisdom. Sometimes it's that we just don't really have like the ears, or the attitude to hear the wisdom. So today we are going to be talking about friendship.
Yep.
Wise friendship, which is such a huge part of being a teenager, about being an adult, specifically a teenager who's walking with Jesus, is, man, good friends, wise friends, that will make you or break you. There's so much that goes into friendship. When you look at someone's friends, I can usually see a teenager and be like, all right, who's your friends, man? And then I can pretty quickly figure out, like, if this is healthy or not healthy. And even really, you can look at someone's future, right? There's those famous quotes like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So we want to talk about friendship in the wisdom series, because if you got foolish friends, you're probably going to do some foolish things. Usually times I got in trouble as a high school student. I usually wasn't by myself. I was usually hanging with some fools, if you know what I'm talking about. But also I think some of my greatest high school moments and college moments and adult moments have also been not by myself. They've been with other people, They've been with wise people. They've been with good friends. And so the value of friendship is just so important. So we're going to be looking at the book of Proverbs today, which is, the wisdom book of the Bible. Proverbs gives us so much truth about God's wisdom, God's heart, God's character. And so wisdom is the applied knowledge that we have about friends, specifically in the book of Proverbs. So we're going to give everybody 3 pro tips for how to have wise friends and how to be a wise friend too. How to have wise friends and be a wise friend. So we're going to start off with the first one. Good friends are good listeners.
tough one.
You've already hit on this already. Good listeners.
Yeah.
You want to read our first scripture, and then we'll talk about this?
Yeah. So we got Proverbs 18:2.
Yeah.
Fools have no interest in understanding. They only want to air their own opinions.
And Proverbs, let's go ahead and do the other one, 18:13.
13. Spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish.
Ooh. That's a big one.
It is big.
Spouting off before listening to the facts is shameful and foolish. Okay, so we've got 2 verses here. Fools don't care to listen to people. They just want to say what they want to say. That's the worst, man. It's like being in a conversation with someone and you know that they're not listening to you, that all they're thinking about is just what they want to say. Ugh, that's bad. Doesn't feel good. What comes to mind when you hear these verses, or maybe even how have you experienced the benefits of good listening in friendship, or maybe also how have you experienced the negative aspects of bad listening in friendship?
I'll take the first half of that question first.
Yeah.
So, I've got some good friends.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of good friends, a lot of close
Good.
friends.
You're blessed.
I am blessed. And with those close friends, I have a lot of friends that are good listeners, and it really just allows me to feel like comfortable and open and able to be vulnerable and have those deep conversations, which
For sure. That's
can
big.
be really healthy and improve.
Yeah,
me
that's super
how we
healthy
grow.
to have deep conversations. Have you experienced any of the negative
Yes.
side effects of that? Yeah.
So I do have some friends that aren't great listeners, and when you're having a tough time, like you just really need someone that you can be vulnerable with and open up with and talk to. And then whenever they're not like, a lot of times they'll try to give good advice, and it's not necessarily like the advice is bad. It's just that there's a time, and like when you,
Yeah. You're like, man, I just want you to listen to what I'm
yeah,
saying.
just let me get it off my
Yeah.
chest. So it kind of creates a barrier between me and them.
Yeah.
that, like we can't have as deep of a relationship because of their inability to listen. So
Of course.
it's tough.
I think we've all probably been in situations where we needed to get something off our chest, or we were just tough day, tough week, tough situation, and you're trying to share something, and you're right. It's just like people are just like, well, you should do this, you know, or this would fix it or solve the problem or whatever. And you're just like, it's like, okay, I appreciate that, but like, I just want to share. And right now, I just need someone to listen, you know, I just need someone to listen. And man, the value of listening is huge. It's hard because, man, a lot of times we just want to speak, you know, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Great. We like listening to ourselves talk, you know, but scripture literally says the opposite of that. It's like, hey, be slow to speak and quick to listen. Many times we have it flip-flopped. We're like, well, I'm going to be quick to speak, right? The fool, they just want to share their opinions. That's what they want to do. It's just like, I just want everyone to know my opinions. And they're really quick to speak and very slow to listen. That's really hard.
Yeah.
Listening is a skill. It's an acquired skill. And man, I'm really even convicted by this because there's times, you know, where it's like, man, someone's trying to talk to me, Lauren's trying to talk to me, you're trying to talk to me, and it's, you know, they're like, you're like scrolling on your phone, and you're just like, like, it's just kind of disrespectful, you know? And it clearly communicates that what you were saying, like just a lack of value. You know, it's like, there's a barrier now. There's like a wall up because I know you're not paying attention to what I'm saying. So listening seems simple. Seems easy.
Easy to say.
Easy to say, hard to do. But man, I think we just got to start there. Wise friends, or being a wise friend or a good friend, learn how to be a good listener and get people around you who can be good listeners. Okay, moving to number 2. Let's talk about honesty. Got to have honesty. And obviously listening and honesty kind of go hand in hand here. You want to read our 2 verses for valuing honesty?
So we got Proverbs 12:19. Truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. And then we got Proverbs 27:6. Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy.
Dude, that's one of my favorite verses.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is like one of my favorite verses in all of Scripture. Wounds from a friend are better than kisses from an enemy. So really, we got 2 verses here talking about the power of truthful words. I think it's hard sometimes in friendship when you're sitting having a conversation with somebody and it is time to, you know, share some advice or to just to have a deep conversation, and you feel like you need to bring a hard truth to someone, you know, and you're like, I know I need to say this, but how do I, they're not going to like it. You know what I mean? But having a friend that will just say it sometimes, you know, having a dad who's just like, I'm going to give you some advice, and you're like, ugh, you know, that's like, that stings a little bit, that hurts a little bit, but really deep down, you know, it's the right thing, you know, it's good for you. Man, that's a good friend to have. And I think sometimes as students, we can get offended easily.
Yeah.
When someone brings a hard truth to you, you know, that's what that means. Like wounds from a friend is like, hey, sometimes your friends say hard truths to you and you're kind of hurt by it. It wounds you. But what the scripture says is like, that's actually beneficial for you. That's better than if you have people who just say everything that you want to hear, but that doesn't actually help you, you know? Yeah. I think that's what that scripture is getting at. So how have you experienced this in your friendships and relationships, the value of honesty, the good side, and then also the bad aspects of it?
Yeah. So when you're open and honest in your friendships, as I am with some of my friends, it really allows you to be vulnerable and actually receive good advice. Because like if you're just surface level and then you can't actually get down to what you need to get down to, actually grow and learn.
Why do you think that a lot of friendships in middle school and high school stay surface level? Because I think a lot of them stay at surface level. Why do you think that is?
It's just easier. It's easier to tell people what they want to hear.
Of course.
It's easier to receive what you want to hear,
Yeah.
but then you don't actually end up learning anything or growing or actually getting better. It's just,
of course. Yeah, for sure. How have you seen the negative aspects of this? Has there been a time where you weren't honest with a friend, or a friend wasn't honest with you, and then that led to like an issue or a problem or anything? I'm not trying to like name drop or anything, but it's just like, I think some of us have seen the negative side of that, and it's like, how do we learn from that, and get better?
Not necessarily like a specific problem, just like, I think the worst part is just I'm fine. Like when somebody asks you like, how are you doing? You're just like, I'm fine. Like,
yeah, right. Okay.
Just kind of closing off that door, and then it's just like the rest of the conversation can't go anywhere just because you're leaving it at that.
Yeah, totally. And that can be frustrating, especially if you're a person who wants the relationship to go deeper, and then it's just the other person just kind of like closed off, That's hard, man. And as I get a little bit older, I'm like, man, I want honest friends.
Yeah.
I don't got time for dishonest friends, or just for shallow friendships. It's like, man, I'm in life. I'm doing this thing, man. I want people that I can really like link arms with, and team up with. And at the end of the day, like when things get tough or when things get difficult or life gets hard, I want an honest friend next to me. I don't want someone who just tells me what I want to hear, because in the hard moments, I'm going to be a little bit more real about like, okay, that's not helpful right now. It's like, I need the hard truth. What do we need to do about this situation? And I need someone with wisdom and with truth to come in and be like, hey, this might sting a little bit, but I'm going to tell you. And I think that's such a great thing for students to understand. Man, don't get mad at your close, honest friends when they tell you the truth. Because it's easy to be like, well, that hurt. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm going to go be with this other friend group. It's like, no, that was actually the thing you needed to hear. God was maybe actually speaking to you in that moment through your honest friend. But you didn't want to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? That's bad. I know I've been guilty of that at times, but sometimes the truth hurts. But obviously, honest friends, those are people you want around you. Finally, good friends do not stir up trouble. Such a good one.
Yeah, it's tough for some people.
Very tough. We love the drama.
Yeah, we do.
We love the gossip. All right, let's read these last two verses, and then we'll talk about stirring up trouble.
So we got Proverbs 26:21. A quarrelsome person starts fights as easily as hot embers light charcoal or fire lights wood. And then we got Proverbs 27:15. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day.
All right, we're not trying to talk bad about anybody's wife here, but the point is, quarrelsome people are people who just like to stir the pot.
Yeah.
They are the people who, everyone's having a great day, and then they get onto Facebook and they just drop like the most controversial thing ever just to watch people fight about it. And it's like they get joy from creating chaos and arguments. That's exhausting.
I know a couple of those.
Yeah, they will not be named, but that's just a quarrelsome person.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, the saying misery loves company. Sometimes it's like, man, people who are just out of control and careless and reckless, they like to just bring other people into that.
Yeah.
And I just want to get as many people into the mess as possible. And man, as Christians, we can get caught up in that.
I've been there before.
We can get caught up in it. It's easy to get caught up in it. Just to throw in our comment, and you see all the parts come together. It's like, oh, I just get to share my opinion here and I don't have to listen to anybody. Okay. Yeah. I'm in. And that's how you get those horrible comment sections or just drama or gossip at school. It's just, I come in here and I share my opinion and we talk about it, and it's just a mess, and then I just get out whenever it's convenient. How have you seen conflict or drama affect relationships? Because this is a big one.
Yeah.
This is a big one for students. How have you seen it affect relationships, and what do we do about it?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of times where drama and conflict and stuff can just like really ruin a friendship or just keep it surface level.
Totally.
Because when people are vulnerable and they open up, and then that information is either like shared with other people or used against them, or judgment is passed upon, it's really can harm the friendship and hurt that person is pretty bad.
For sure. And I didn't even think about that. That's such a good point, though. It's like a student is vulnerable enough to share something. Hey, this is what's going on. Like, I need some help. You know, it's like, listen to me. I need some advice. And it's like, man, the intention is pure. And it's like, they're wanting honesty and all of it. It's like, everything's great. And then someone spreads that, you know, it's just like, oh man, it's like that's damaging in so many different ways. Now you got people, you know, poking fun at it. The trust is broken. There's betrayal. Next time that person is probably not going to want to share anything with anybody. You know what I mean? And so, man, what a huge thing to look for in a friend, a wise friend. Being a wise friend or finding wise friends is like, can I trust you with what you're sharing? And I just don't want to be around people who just like to spread stuff, or, you know, even that verse that's like, and people who start fights as easily as hot embers light wood. That display, right, of like, how do you keep a fire going? You just keep dumping, you know, stuff on top of it. Like, how do you put it out? You just let it ride. You know, it's like, eventually this thing will go out and die down. Leave it alone. But man, instead, a lot of times as students, and a lot of it just comes back to our own, you know, insecurities or us wanting to look better and all of that stuff that's really prideful is like, I think, kind of behind why we do a lot of those things. But man, sometimes the wisest thing to do in your friendship is just to be like, yeah, we're not entertaining that, you know, at all. It's like, we're just not even going to give that the time of day. So a big question to ask is like, is your friend group a peaceful friend group, or are they a conflict heavy friend group? Or a drama heavy friend group? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I can tell you about my friend group.
Please.
We're, for the most part, pretty peaceful when it comes to like serious things. I mean, we fight all the time about the little things.
Yeah, about the small stuff. Yeah.
Lots of little fires, if you want to call them that.
Totally. And every friendship is going to have conflict moments.
Yeah.
That's just part of life. Marriages, relationships, all friendships have conflict moments. Mm. But that's different than creating conflict just for no reason, you know? And so that's the thing that we want to avoid. So, man, wise friendships. We want to help students. Oh, I just had a little thing pop up on my computer. That's annoying. Sorry. We'll leave this in. Wise friendships. We listen well. We value honesty. And don't stir up trouble. That's it right there. If you can have that, good listeners, value honesty, and just don't stir up unnecessary trouble, that's a wise friendship right there.
Seems simple.
How to be a wise friend. It's simple, but it's hard to do. Any final thoughts?
I think that about sums it up. I think we hit it.
That sums it up. That's good stuff right there. Colton, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Of course. RSQUAD, we love you. We'll see you next time. Peace out.